You're standing in a Target on a Tuesday afternoon and you see it. That Stanley Cup, the one that's been all over your feed for months. You weren't planning on buying a $40 water bottle today. You already have 3 water bottles at home. But here's the thing, everyone has one. Your coworker brings hers to every meeting. Your sister-in-law posted about hers last week. The girl in front of you in line has 2 of them in her cart, different colors, and suddenly you're picking one up, feeling the weight of it, wondering if the seafoam green or the rose quartz speaks to you more. You're doing the math in your head, justifying it. It keeps drinks cold for like 11 hours. That's practical, right? It's an investment in hydration, self-care. But let me ask you something. Did you actually need that cup? Or did everyone else having it make you feel like you did? Here's the thing about social proof. It's not just some marketing buzzword. It's one of the most powerful psychological forces shaping your spending decisions right now. And most people have absolutely no idea how much control it has over them. We like to think we're independent thinkers, that our purchases reflect our personal values, our unique tastes, our individual needs. But the data tells a completely different story. According to research from Empower in March 2025, over half of Americans, 51%, have made a purchase or investment specifically because of FOMO, the fear of missing out on a financial opportunity or an experience. And when you break that down by age, it gets even more brutal. Nearly 70% of Gen Z experiences financial FOMO while scrolling social media. Almost 70%. That means 7 out of 10 young adults are making spending decisions not because they want something, but because everyone else seems to have it. Let me show you what that actually looks like in real dollars. The average American adult carried $104,755 in total debt as of June 2025, according to Experian. That's a 6-figure debt load. Credit cards, car payments, mortgages, personal loans, student loans, all of it adding up. And for millennials specifically, that number jumps to $132,280. That's not just debt. That's a mortgage-sized financial burden weighing on people who are supposed to be in their prime earning years. Now, a chunk of that is necessary debt. Your mortgage, maybe student loans, but here's where social proof comes in and absolutely wrecks your financial life. Americans experiencing financial FOMO are most likely to spend money on dining out, 21% of them, and travel at 18%. These aren't necessities. These are experiences they're buying because other people are posting about them online. The brunch photo, the tropical vacation story, the concert tickets, the fear that if you're not also doing these things, you're somehow falling behind. The psychological mechanism behind this is called the bandwagon effect. It's the human tendency to adopt certain behaviors, beliefs, or trends simply because we see others doing the same. And here's what makes it so dangerous. It operates almost entirely on a subconscious level. You're not consciously thinking, I'm going to buy this because Jennifer from accounting has one. Your brain is doing something way more subtle. It's seeing repeated exposure to a product or experience, registering that as social validation, and then generating desire based on that validation. You think you want it, but what you actually want is to belong to the group that has it. Let me give you a real example, the Stanley Cup phenomenon. Stanley has been making thermoses since 1913. For over a century, they were known for rugged, practical bottles that construction workers and outdoorsy types used. Then, around 2023, something shifted. Social media influencers started posting about the Quencher tumbler, specifically the 40-ounce version. Women started collecting them in different colors. Limited edition drops sold out in minutes. There were viral videos of people lining up at Target at 6 a.m. to grab the latest shade. One woman's Stanley Cup survived a car fire and went viral because the ice inside was still frozen. The internet lost its mind. By 2025, Stanley Cups had become a cultural marker. Not owning one meant you were out of the loop, behind the trend. And here's the thing, the cup itself is fine. It's a good insulated tumbler. But is it worth $40? Is it materially better than a $20 version from a different brand? For most people, honestly, no. But that's not why they bought it. They bought it because everyone else had one social proof in action. And before you think, well, that's just dumb people buying trendy stuff, let me tell you, this affects everyone. Studies show that 92% of consumers hesitate to make a purchase when there are no customer reviews available. Think about that. 9 out of 10 people need to see evidence that other people bought something before they'll buy it themselves. That's not stupid. That's human psychology. We're wired to look for social cues about what's safe, what's valuable, what's worth our money. It's a survival mechanism that goes back thousands of years. If everyone in the tribe is eating the red berries and not dying, the red berries are probably safe. That's social proof. But here's where it gets twisted in modern consumer culture. Companies know this about you. They know you make decisions based on what other people are doing, and they weaponize it. Influencer marketing spending in the US hit over $10.52 billion in 2025. That's billion with a B. Brands aren't paying influencers just to showcase products. They're paying them to create the illusion of widespread adoption, to make you feel like you're the only one not participating in this thing everyone else is already doing. Here's how it works. An influencer with 500,000 followers posts about a product. Let's say it's a skincare routine or a new gadget or a meal kit service. They don't say this is an ad right away, well, legally they have to, but they bury it in the caption. The post looks organic, authentic, like your friend just discovered this amazing thing and wants to share it. You see it. You scroll past, then you see another influencer post about the same product 2 days later, then a TikTok, then someone mentions it in a YouTube video you're watching. Suddenly, it feels like everyone is using this thing. That's manufactured social proof. And your brain can't tell the difference between genuine widespread adoption and coordinated marketing. The psychological impact is identical. You start to feel FOMO. You start to feel like maybe you're missing out on something valuable. So you buy it. And the second you do, you become part of the social proof for the next person scrolling through their feed. Let me show you the financial damage this causes. According to data from early 2025, 57% of Americans have made a financial decision after seeing other people's lifestyles online. That's not just buying a water bottle, that's choosing investments, opening savings accounts, taking out loans, changing career paths, major life decisions influenced by watching what other people are doing on Instagram and TikTok. And get this, 38% of Americans have made a purchase based on an influencer suggestion with an average spend of $372. That's not pocket change. That's real money going out the door because someone you don't know suggested you buy something. Now here's the part that should actually scare you. Most of what you see online is not representative of normal financial behavior. It's a highlight reel. People post their wins, their vacations, their new cars, their promotions. They don't post their credit card statements. They don't post the 3-hour panic attack they had last Tuesday because they can't figure out how to make rent and their car payment in the same week. Social media creates this completely distorted view of what normal spending looks like, and your brain uses that distorted view as the benchmark for your own financial decisions. Researchers call this visibility bias. You can only see what people choose to show you, and what they choose to show you is almost always the expensive, impressive stuff. Your friend posts pictures from a $4,000 trip to Europe. What she doesn't post is that she put the whole thing on a credit card at 24% APR, and she's going to be paying it off for the next 18 months. You see the trip, you feel behind. You think, why can't I afford to travel like that? And then you book your own trip you can't afford just to keep up. Here's the brutal math on that. Let's say you charge a $4,000 vacation to a credit card with a 24% interest rate. You tell yourself you'll pay it off quickly, but life happens. You end up making minimum payments. At a typical minimum payment structure, let's say 2% of the balance, or $25, whichever is greater, it's going to take you over 20 years to pay off that debt, and you're going to pay more than $7,000 in interest. So that $4,000 vacation actually cost you $11,000. But your brain doesn't calculate it that way when you're booking the flight. Your brain is just thinking everyone else is traveling. I deserve this too. That's the invisible math of social proof spending. You see the thing, you don't see the cost. And by the time you realize how much damage you've done, you're already drowning in payments. Let me tell you about Marcus. Marcus is 32. He works in tech, makes about $85,000 a year. By most standards, he's doing fine. But Marcus has $18,000 in credit card debt spread across 4 cards. How did that happen? He didn't have some catastrophic emergency. He didn't lose his job. He just bought stuff. A new couch because his friend's place looked so good and he wanted his apartment to feel more adult. a Peloton because everyone at work was talking about their morning rides, a trip to Japan because his college buddy posted about it and it looked incredible. Concert tickets, like a lot of concert tickets, new clothes for those concerts, dinners out 3, 4 times a week because his social circle is always going somewhere. None of these purchases felt irresponsible in the moment. They all seemed justified. Everyone else was doing them, but here's what Marcus didn't calculate. At his current payment rate, making just minimum payments, he's going to be carrying this debt for over a decade. And he's going to pay nearly $12,000 in interest alone. That's $12,000 that could have been invested, could have been saved for a down payment, could have been building his actual financial future. Instead, it's going straight to credit card companies as a tax on his need to keep up with everyone else. That's not a gap in his budget, that's a chasm. And Marcus is not unusual. He's the average American consumer navigating an economy designed to exploit social proof psychology at every turn. Now, let's talk about why this is getting worse, not better. Researchers have found that elevated FOMO in financial markets predicts lower returns, higher volatility, and worse risk-adjusted performance. Translation: when people make investment decisions based on what everyone else is doing, jumping on the latest crypto trend, piling into meme stocks, chasing whatever's hot on Reddit, they consistently lose money. A 10% increase in FOMO leads to a 1.7% to 2% decline in monthly stock returns. That's a measurable, quantifiable penalty for following the herd. But people keep doing it because the psychological pull of social proof is stronger than rational financial analysis. When you see 100 posts about people making money on some investment, your brain interprets that as safety. It thinks this many people can't be wrong, except they absolutely can be, and often are. That's how bubbles form. That's how people lose their life savings. Not because they didn't understand the investment, though that's part of it, but because they couldn't handle the psychological pressure of being the only one not participating. Here's what makes this particularly insidious in 2026. We're living in an environment where comparison is constant and unavoidable. Your phone is a 24/7 social proof delivery system. Every time you open Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, you're being bombarded with evidence of what other people are buying, doing, experiencing, and that exposure is changing your baseline for what normal spending looks like. 30 years ago, you compared yourself to your immediate social circle, your coworkers, your neighbors, maybe your extended family. Now you're comparing yourself to everyone, to influencers living in million-dollar homes, to tech executives posting from their third vacation this year, to people your age who seem to have it all figured out. Your comparison pool has expanded from maybe 50 people to 50 million people, and your brain is trying to keep up with all of them. The data bears this out. A 2025 study found that 31% of Americans often compare their financial situations with others while scrolling social media. But here's the thing, for most of those people, the comparison makes them feel worse, not better. Gen Z is most likely to feel anxious or self-conscious when seeing others share financial wins. 18% of them report feeling that way, compared to just 6% of boomers. This isn't motivating them to make smarter financial decisions. It's just creating anxiety and driving impulsive spending as a coping mechanism. Let me show you what that looks like over time. Let's say you spend an extra $200 per month on stuff you bought because of social proof, dining out because everyone's posting about that new restaurant, clothes because you saw an influencer wearing them, subscription services because your friends mentioned them, concert tickets, weekend trips, gadgets, whatever, just $200 a month. That might not even feel like a lot in the moment, right? You can probably find $200 in your budget. But here's what that $200 really costs you. If instead of spending it, you invested that $200 per month in a simple index fund averaging 8% annual returns, in 30 years you'd have over $298,000. Just from that $200. That's not a retirement fund. That's financial independence. That's the option to quit a job you hate. That's the ability to handle a medical emergency without panic. That's security. But you're not going to get there by buying what everyone else buys. You're going to get there by understanding that social proof is a psychological exploit, not a valid decision-making framework. And right now, every company, every advertiser, every influencer is trying to hack your brain through social proof because it works. It works so well that you don't even realize it's happening. Let me give you a framework for recognizing when social proof is driving your decisions. Ask yourself 3 questions before any purchase over $50. 1. Did I want this yesterday? Before I saw someone else with it. Before it showed up on my feed, was this thing on my radar at all? If the answer is no, that's a red flag. That's social proof creating artificial desire. 2. Can I explain why this specific product solves a specific problem I currently have? Not a problem I might have someday. Not a problem that sounds good in theory. A real problem right now. If you can't articulate that, you don't need it. 3. What am I not buying because I'm buying this? Every dollar has an opportunity cost. That $40 Stanley Cup isn't just $40. It's the $40 you're not investing, not saving, not using to pay down debt. What are you trading it for? And is that trade worth it? Most of the time, when you run through these questions honestly, you'll realize the purchase doesn't make sense. It's just social proof telling you that you should have it because other people do. And that realization is the first step toward breaking free of this cycle. Now, here's where it gets complicated. Social proof isn't always bad. We actually need some level of social information to make good decisions. Reading reviews before buying something? That's social proof, and it's useful. Asking friends for restaurant recommendations? Social proof. Learning from other people's experiences can save you time, money, and mistakes. The problem is when social proof becomes the primary driver of your spending, overriding your actual needs, your budget, your financial goals. The key is learning to filter social proof through your own financial reality. Just because your friend can afford something doesn't mean you can. Just because someone on Instagram posted about a product doesn't mean it's right for your life. Just because a trend exists doesn't mean you have to participate in it. You have to build that filter consciously because your brain won't do it automatically. Your brain is wired to follow the herd. You have to train it not to. Let me tell you what companies don't want you to know. You opting out of a trend doesn't hurt you. You know what does hurt you? The $35,000 car payment you're making on a vehicle you bought because your neighbor got a new truck, and suddenly your perfectly functional sedan felt inadequate. That hurts you. The $150 a month streaming and subscription services you signed up for because everyone was talking about them. That hurts you. The wardrobe full of clothes you wore once because you saw them on TikTok. That hurts you. Not buying the thing everyone else is buying. That doesn't hurt you. It frees you. It frees up your money to do things that actually matter to you, not things that matter to your algorithm. Here's the reality most people don't want to hear. You can't afford to keep up with the spending you see online. You can't. The people posting that content often can't afford it either. They're just better at hiding the debt, or they're being paid to post it. Or they've optimized their entire lives around creating content that generates income. You're comparing your real life to someone else's monetized performance, and that comparison is bankrupting you. Let's talk about what happens if you don't fix this. If you keep spending based on social proof, keep buying what everyone else buys, keep letting FOMO drive your financial decisions. In 5 years, you'll have a closet full of stuff you don't use, a credit card balance that makes you sick to look at, and no meaningful savings. You'll still be living paycheck to paycheck despite making more money than you did before. Because lifestyle inflation driven by social proof will always outpace your income growth. In 10 years, you'll start realizing that all your friends who weren't posting about their purchases, who weren't showing off every trip and meal and product, are the ones who now own homes, have retirement accounts, can take time off work without financial panic. And you'll realize that the social proof you followed wasn't showing you success. It was showing you the appearance of success, which is a completely different thing. In 20 years, the gap between you and people who learn to ignore social proof will be so wide you won't be able to see across it. They'll have financial security. You'll still be working to pay off purchases you made in 2026 because everyone else was buying them too. That's not a gap. That's a chasm, and it's built one social proof driven purchase at a time. But here's the thing, and this is actually the hopeful part. You can stop this right now. Today, you don't need to overhaul your entire life. You just need to start questioning the purchases you're about to make. You need to start recognizing the feeling of FOMO for what it is, a psychological manipulation tactic designed to separate you from your money. You need to start asking, do I actually want this? Or do I just want to feel like I'm keeping up? Because here's what nobody's telling you. The race you think you're in, it doesn't exist. There is no finish line where everyone agrees you've bought enough stuff to be considered successful. There's no amount of trendy purchases that will make you feel permanently secure or permanently ahead. Social proof is an infinite treadmill. There will always be a new trend, a new product, a new experience everyone seems to be having except you. You cannot win by playing. You can only win by stopping. And when you do stop, when you start making financial decisions based on your actual needs and goals instead of what everyone else is doing, something shifts. You stop feeling behind, you stop feeling like you're missing out. Because you're not trying to keep up anymore, you're building something real. Something that compounds, something that's actually yours. Not just a reflection of what everyone else has. That's the escape route. That's how you break free of the social proof trap. You recognize it, you name it, you refuse to let it control your spending. You unfollow accounts that make you feel like you need to buy things. You stop scrolling when you feel that anxious pull to purchase. You give yourself 48 hours before buying anything over $50. You track your spending and identify patterns driven by FOMO. You build a budget based on your values, not other people's highlight reels. It's not easy, your brain is going to fight you on this because it's wired for social proof, but it's necessary. Because the alternative is spending the next 30 years financially underwater, wondering why you never got ahead despite doing everything everyone else was doing. That's the point. Everyone else isn't getting ahead either. They're just better at hiding it. And you don't have to follow them off that cliff.